guys. Hey guys. Sorry, I have to share all this stuff. You can't do it before the stream. So do bear with me while I share everything. Okay, there it's shared. Let's look on here, make sure my volume is good. Yes, my volume is good. My headset is in. Nice. The only thing is that my chair is in the wrong position. Okay, that will do. Kind of floating today. So hi guys, nice to see you. I hope you're having a beautiful Sunday, whether it be morning or afternoon or evening. Maybe you're not watching this on Sunday. Maybe you're watching it on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday or Saturday. And if you are watching it on one of those days, I hope you're having a beautiful day too. Isn't that so cool time? The weirdness of it. So, just some introductions. So, if this is the first time you've ever been on live stream, then the way that you interact with me is through Skype. I rarely read the messages on YouTube, although sometimes I do. And you write to me through Skype, and if you want to call in, it's best that you write about what you want to ask, just so I can have diversity of questions and not the same question all the time. And also, if you want to call in, it's best that you have a headset, otherwise you get feedback and it's really uncomfortable for people listening. If you want to come to one of my events, the next event that I have is in Berlin, the 8th and 9th of September. You can find that on my website. So that's a Saturday and a Sunday. Then after that, I have an 8-night retreat in the south of Spain, the 27th of October to the 4th of November. And I also have online meditation classes at the last Saturday of every month. So the next one is 25th of August. We just had one yesterday. And then I've got a retreat in India, the 13th of January 2019 to the 20th of January 2019. And I also have open talks in India as well, which is the 6th to the 12th of January 2019. And that's in Tiruvannamalai, India. I can't think of anything else. Oh yeah. So if you want to subscribe, one second, we'll just start that again. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel to get email notifications of when I go live, and that's really handy because then there's just the link there and you don't have to look or wait for it on YouTube. And I'm going to show you how to do that. First of all, you have to have a YouTube account, so you have to have a Gmail account, and with that you get a YouTube account, I think. So long ago since I signed up to YouTube. And what you have to do is you first of all have to go to YouTube when you're logged into your YouTube account and go to my page. So type in Lisa Cairns in the search and go to my page, but I'm going to show you a different page. Oh, hang on. I just realized that I didn't size that. I didn't size that, so that doesn't make sense. It's confusing. I've forgotten how you size it. Okay, I don't know if I can do it when I'm live. So basically you go to my YouTube channel and you click subscribe and you click the bell next to the subscribe channel, and then you have to go into your settings and notification settings just to make sure that you've got to send email notifications on. I'll try and get that in the next video, but I didn't size it to the screen, so it's only a quarter of the picture. And I think I can't do that when I'm live. My mistake. I always like to sit in silence before I do my talks. The reason why, we always need whys to everything. Why should I bother sitting in silence when I've got to put up a fence, I've got to paint the fence, paint the house, put up things in the house, do all these things. Why should I bother sitting in silence? What a waste of time. Well, it really doesn't matter actually if you sit in silence ultimately. Freedom's got nothing to do with sitting in silence or not sitting in silence. Freedom is just free and it doesn't care about that stuff. But firstly, I like it, so that's why I do it. It feels nice to sit there, and I just sit there and I wait for inspiration to come or the words to come. And secondly, I think it's really good for your person. Normally the seeking energy in the body, the separate entity, is very highly strung because it lives in a society that has lots of demands on it and it's always doing something. It's either fixing something, going to work, looking after children, looking after grandchildren, watching TV, going out with friends. It's always doing something. So sitting in silence is like going to the gym or taking a walk with the dog. It's something really healthy for your body-mind mechanism, just to let everything slow down, and there's no goal to it. If you want, you can practice the I am practice of putting your attention back into the I am, but really there's no goal to it. You can also just sit there with me. There is no goal. Freedom really doesn't require anything for you to do anything. So that part is for you to settle the human, and the settling the human part, I don't think it's better doing a practice or not doing a practice, because if you do a practice, it's almost another dynamic in your life where it's telling you what you have to do and what you should do and what you should be, and that you can do it. But also, if you feel like your mind's going crazy, then it's also a nice thing to do to keep moving your attention back to presence. But the ultimate teaching is that there is nobody doing that. That life is simply happening and it's not divided. There isn't this divided reality where you're inside your body doing something separate from this world. It's a happening. So life is empty. And that word empty isn't a negative word. It's amazing that the society has such a negative opinion on it. There is nothing this world is happening to. This life doesn't happen to someone. If it did, it would be a life of suffering. That's why people appear as suffering people, because they're identified with being something. But this life is happening to nothing, to no one. There's nothing looking out of your eyes. There is simply looking, but for no one. And it's nothing, not a thing found in this world, not even consciousness. Consciousness doesn't really exist on the ultimate level. They're simply things, and there's no distance from that empty looking and the things that appear. This is compassion. This is true compassion, to know that there is nothing, to see that there is nothing looking out of these eyes and nobody experiencing life, and that life is free. Life is always free for no one. If it was for someone, it would become about something. But it's free, just a happening. And so life is empty, and emptiness is full. It's full of everything. It's empty and it's full. And the full side is love. It's this pure being, this pure sense of aliveness. And there's this empty looking, this conscious recognition of all things. But that conscious recognition isn't separate from anything. And that sense of being, that sense of aliveness isn't separate from anything. It is all things. This is who you are. This is totally free. There is nothing you need to do to get to this, because you don't exist. That you that feels like it exists doesn't exist. That's only frustrating for a person. That's not frustrating for life itself. It's only frustrating for a person that believes it exists and believes that it's got to achieve things in order to be loved. In actuality, that's total freedom, that there's nothing you need to do to be free. There's nothing you need to barter with in this life. You are freedom. If there's frustration arising, that's a personal dynamic, and we can address that personal dynamic after I've just blown your heads away with the emptiness. You can go back to the person. Most people want to speak about themselves, which I'm not criticizing. I love to speak about myself on the character level. I'm not criticizing that, but it's got nothing to do with you, non-duality. Well, your attention is densely contracted in that person, then we can work to relax the person, but it's not the person that wakes up. Who am I talking to now? I'm not talking to a person. The person doesn't exist. The person is a formation of thoughts, feelings, energies, and ideas, which goes into the category of thoughts and sensation. They're all like clumped together, and it makes you somebody that's listening, and it even claims consciousness in the I am, so it feels like there is somebody inside the body looking, but there is nobody inside the body having an experience. This idea of soul is incorrect if it's taught with the idea of separation. There is no separate soul. Who are you? How can you be something that's always changing? What is it in your experience that doesn't change? That is who you are. And feelings of frustration, feelings like you get it or don't get it, comes and goes. That's not who you are. This is freedom. Hey Bia. Hey Paul. Hey Sean. Hey Ashkush. Hi Thomas. Hi Lisa. I've had you say there's no space, that it's our imagination. How is it then we can play football and I can kick a ball from one end of the pitch to the other, to another human who is also experiencing this? Well, firstly, you don't know what the other human is. You don't know what their experience is. And you can never know what their experience is. You don't know if they exist or don't, and that they're having an internal experience, or if they're just dream characters in your dream. You can't tell that. You can never go inside another human. So just leave that alone. Forget about other humans. You don't know what that phenomena is. With the kicking a ball, it's simple. So you can think of it like watching a film, where an old-fashioned film, the way they're showed in the cinema is that you have lots of pictures put together and they're speeded up and light is shone through them and it makes the appearance of movement. But actually every shot is still. But the speeded up film and the light makes it seem like there is movement and seem like something's happening. And that's what's happening here. Is that in every instant there is a picture projected. And these pictures are actually ultimately still. But because they keep moving, it seems like there is movement and it seems like there is past and future, just like in the film. But actually nothing is happening. So if you think about this, so here is my hand and my hand moving like this. It's a very big hand in comparison to the size of my head. I do have very big hands and feet. You see? My hand is gigantic. But anyway, that's not the point. So the point is that is this movement, which is very confusing because I'm doing it the other way around. Sorry, I just got confused by the mirroring effect. So if you imagine it like this, now, how do you, when the position's here, how do you know it was here? So if it goes dunk, dunk, and now it's here, how do you know it's there? You know it because you can imagine that that happened. If you didn't have the ability to imagine, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't have happened. But your brain can sort of synchronize things together. Animals have really weak memories. They can't remember it for very long. But humans have a lot more stronger memories. They can remember a lot of things their whole entire life. Animals don't have that ability, so they can't remember when they were born or their mother or when they were 5 or 4 years old. The same when we were children. So the way that you know that image is through a memory here. The way you know that image is through a memory. This one through a memory, a memory, a memory, a memory. So you know that movement because of a combination of the picture that's appearing and the memory appearing of a previous position. And then it gives you the appearance of movement and something's happening. Where there is nothing happening and it's all your projection. So it's all your projection. It's not somebody else's projection. It's not somebody else's projection that's happening. It's your projection. So yours as beingness, as consciousness. So it's not even that you're in that watching that experience. There is only that experience happening and it's all happening from yourself. It's the same with those when you dream at night. There's no dream happening, but it appears like there's a dream happening. So really there's nothing happening. There's no world. There's no you moving through that world, but you dream it all. And you dream it through images, still images put together, making it look like a storyline appearing in time. So this is stillness appearing as movement. Isn't that cool? It's your experience. If the person settles down and there is enough space, it can be seen, all of this. Thank you for your question, Sean. What about if a bus hits me? What about that? What about that? If a bus hits you, then your character dies or is put in hospital, but who you truly are doesn't die. Presence doesn't die, and that's something that will be seen. That you're prior to the character. The character is arising in who you are. The character doesn't. The character doesn't own who you are. So your perspective is that you're alive and that you're experiencing this world, but actually you're appearing in aliveness. You're appearing in yourself. All this can be seen in enlightenment. Yeah, but not how you mentally think it. Like your imagination and how your intellectual understanding of it isn't it. So if a bus hits you and you die, there is still presence. So you think you own presence, you think you are alive, but you aren't alive, you don't exist. You're a formation appearing in which consciousness and the I am is looking through. So God is looking through your body. Your body isn't experiencing anything. Your body and your mind and your thoughts are being experienced. See this and it'll be understood what I'm saying. But you are not alive. Isn't that cool? Hey Isabel. Hi Lisa, why are you doing a live on Sunday? I always do a live on Sunday and Wednesday, unless I'm busy, and then I don't. Thanks Bia for saying I look like I'm shining. I think it might be because it is so hot here. I think the heat is very good for you. Sure, Thomas, we can speak, but make sure that you have a headset, please. Hello? Hello? Hey, Thomas. Hi. I am very good, thank you. How are you doing? Yeah. Sorry? I don't know if I can help you. Yeah. I don't know if I said in order to fix it, but that was a suggestion. Just 1 second. There's no sound on Skype. There.
So I told you about the issue and you told me to pay attention to the basic chakra, okay? So, but how do I do it? I don't know, because I don't see a chakra in my body. I don't see anything. So how can I pay attention to it? If you can explain a little bit more, how does it work for me to do it?
I've been through this with you before, and I'm just aware.
Sorry?
I've been through a lot of these conversations with you before, and I'm just aware of your patterns and our
Yeah.
conversation. So I'm just sort of letting it process and seeing how I'm going to tackle it today.
Okay.
I can hear that there's a lot of fear in your body. I can
Oh
hear your
yes,
voice is
definitely.
shaking and you're speaking very quickly.
Yes, but this is because of past trauma.
Mm-hmm. Are you still not going out of the house?
Sorry?
Are you still staying in all day, like not going out and stuff?
No, so sometimes I do it because I don't know how to explain my situation to you, but I'm sick, basically physically sick. So it's very hard for me to go out and socialize. I have a lot of very intense problems, but I don't know. I don't want to expose myself in the
Uh-huh.
internet.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But sometimes I do go out and I take a walk or I exercise, but I have to stay. Uh, I have to rest a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I just need to know how to fix this thing in my head because I have no idea. I don't understand about energy or about chakras and shit. I just know that I forced it. I forced this to open. So how do I close it now? If you can help me, of course.
I don't know if I can help you. I don't know.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
I mean, that was my suggestion last time, and it doesn't work. And I don't know how. I don't know your situation. That,
Yeah. So about
that
just
I
to
just,
make
I don't know how to help
that's
you.
okay. That's okay. But just to make it more clear then about the basic chakra, what I did is I was concentrating on the basic of my spine.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you mean? Is that what you mean to concentrate on the basic chakra? I have to concentrate on the base of my spine.
Just
That's
below the
it, right?
base of your spine, yeah.
So if I do that, maybe something will help. Something will
Yeah,
happen, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I can do that then. Do you have any other suggestion?
No, there's no other suggestions that I have.
Okay, that's okay. I'll just try to do then the concentration on my spine.
Yeah.
And I see if that will help.
Yeah. Thanks, Thomas.
Okay, anyway, thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Whoa, Lisa, this is from Sack. I feel like I'm becoming aware of presence. Earlier, when I was listening to you, it felt like I expanded. It was like I was witnessing my body eating and drinking and moving without me feeling like I was operating it. I was witnessing it happening. Wow. Nice, Sack. So these are awakening experiences, and when that happens, there's something that's remembered that can't be forgotten again. Even though the person can come back, there will always be a taste of that, a knowing of that what's being spoken about is true, like a resonance with it. So that's really beautiful. Spectre. How about self-image, seeing myself doing stuff in my mind? That's important to have a self-image in order to be able to refer to what you're doing. It's more of an energetic shift, so it's not the thinking or the self-image stops, but maybe there'll be a lot less focus on you and on self-image. But that's not you. That image you see in your head, like if you think about it, you normally see yourself from the outside doing things. So you imagine yourself. So that obviously can't be you, but you feel like that's who you are. But that's something that's being experienced, that's being watched. It's not who you are. But this is an energetic shift. It's not an intellectual shift. So don't look for it in the mind. Hi, Vedas. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you. Does it mean that the body is being animated? Sure, yeah, it means the body is being animated. It's not you doing it, it's a happening. You are not moving your body. How did you move your arm now? How do you move your head? How do you blink your eyes? How do you speak? The person says, it's me, it's me, it's me, but who? Who is this you? Hi, Lisa. I would like to talk to you if you want. Sure. Hi, Phyllis. Hey, Hannah.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Okay. Nice to see you. I heard that you were doing live on Saturdays and Wednesdays, and today suddenly on YouTube got in and saw you. Was very glad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Sunday, it's always Sundays and Wednesdays.
Okay.
Unless I'm away, and then it's not those days.
Okay, so I was totally illusioned, really, in my mind. It's very strange. I was totally sure that it was Saturday. Very strange. Okay. I had no certain question, but I just wanted to connect with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that your time is precious, but sorry for doing that. And I wanted to tell you that since I started watching you and talking to you, I think I'm doing much better.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And thank you very much.
Oh, it's pleasure, Hannah. It's a pleasure. How's it going with your children?
It's going very good actually.
Yeah?
But I must take that on the wood, knock on the wood maybe.
Yeah.
but it's going very well since I wrote you a question
Yeah.
last time, and you told me that, well, you know, I have no children. It was very funny. I knew it, but I kept asking.
Yeah.
My bad, but I knew that you had the answer.
Yeah. And there's two things we can do. We can work with stuck feelings in the body that happen around your children and happen in certain situations. But then there's this other side where we can say you have no children and you have no problems. And that's a really beautiful thing to say if it's heard. But sometimes the mind can take it as a way to not deal with things or to avoid things, and it's not taken in the right way. But when it's taken in the right way, it's so free. Like, often what we're doing is we're not just dealing with the children or dealing with what's being difficult, we're dealing with the problem in hand and then our whole story about it. And that's very heavy. And that comes with lots of emotions that you're used to feeling, like a feeling like you can't do it, or a feeling like you're stuck, or that you won't make it. And you're not even conscious of it often, but you're telling yourself stories and seeking to find the resolution in time. But then there can be this other thing that happens where all of that's dropped. Not necessarily the feelings, but the attachment to that story, that there is nothing happening. You don't have to carry your life. It's just moment to moment. It's dealing with everything that's happening in the moment. But we can also deal with the other side, because sometimes feelings get so intense that you can deal with the feeling, like a feeling of powerlessness, which makes you feel exhausted, and a feeling of stuckness. And you can look at that in time to try to release it. But then ultimately it comes back to, there is no problem right here. It's all a mental construction and a habit that's appeared. Like, there is nothing you need to be. Even in this conversation, I can imagine that it's stressful calling in and speaking with me, and like being live on internet and it being recorded. But there's also nothing you have to be. Like, you can feel all the feelings that go with that, but there's also another sense, there's nothing happening. There is no you on the internet. Like, there's an absolute trust in what is, that there is just life happening, and it's free to be as it is. And it tends to work out when you're not addressing it with lots of negative energy. It just works. Like, life is magical. It doesn't happen like we think it does. A couple of days ago, I went to my friend's house, and she found a bird that was most probably disabled. It had fallen out of the tree, and it could partially move its tail and partially move its legs, but it was all doing it in the wrong order, and it wasn't working properly, and it couldn't stand its legs, and it kept falling over. So there was something that had happened. It looked like it was disabled. It could fly, but it just, the back bit of it couldn't work and the legs couldn't work. And and she sent me an email today saying that, I got a text yesterday saying that she'd be massaging the bird. Actually, she's just texted me right now. I just see her name come up, Ina. That's funny. And we have a bit of it seems that we've got this thing going with the birds. She keeps attracting birds, and then I found a bird. So there's lots of bird things going on here. And she watched this YouTube video on the internet, which is basically massaging the bird, like massaging it, basically giving it love energy. And yesterday it began to be able to stand and move, and then today it flew off and it's wild again, and it's moving, and it seems to be functioning. And it was so disabled, like the legs looked all bent and out of position and couldn't function, and it seemed to heal.
Wow.
And that was just in a couple of days. And I really, when I saw it, like 4 days ago, I really felt like there was no hope for that bird. Like, it really was looking quite deformed. And she was so
Uh-huh.
positive and loving about it. And
Uh-huh.
she said, you know, and she said so like miracles can happen. And I was like, yeah, miracles can happen. It really is a miracle that happened. Like within 4 days, it's healed itself and it's off flying with its mother. I think it's still a little bit wobbly, but it's functioning. Like life
Yeah.
really doesn't happen like we think it does. Like our thinking in a way keeps it in a container.
Mm-hmm. I see. I get that.
Yeah.
I got when you told about your dog.
Yeah.
I felt actually really ashamed of me. Because I was like not accepting my children as they are.
Yeah.
And when you told your friend, he's very nice. It was funny, but very bitter true about my judgment, and it was very helpful. And about that bird too.
I can't remember what I said about Khaleesi, but was I talking about like that she's not perfect in her behavior, like you would just say? Yeah,
No.
she's very specific in her behavior.
Yes. And you said that he's very kind and nice. It was actually very unconditional love that everyone needs.
Yeah.
And yeah, if I got right. Yeah. So.
Oh, nice.
It was nice talking to you.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Have a nice evening.
Yeah, thank you very much, sweetie. Nice to speak with you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Megan. Hi, Lisa. I was wondering if you had any advice on emotional blockages. I sometimes feel I suppress my emotions, not intentionally. I can feel the sadness, anger, lower vibration emotions accumulate, and I feel desperately want to cry, but I just can't. Do you have any advice on how to allow yourself to release emotions or allow them to always be free flowing? Thank you. I think of course I have the stuff to say on the emotional stuff. So firstly, the ultimate freedom is who is looking at those emotions and who is experiencing that person. And it's that energetic movement back to that. But I do have advice on how to deal with emotions. I've formulated a little system which I should write down and put into a little booklet for people, but I'm a creative type and I tend not to be that organized. I need a very organized person to do all these things for me. Today I've been working on a children's book I've been writing, which is totally unpractical. It would be much better if I worked on these other things, but I love doing it, so it's so beautiful. It's all told from animal perspectives. It's so sweet, and from the first person of the animals. And at the moment I've got a wolf. The two main characters are a wolf and a cat. A wolf dog and a cat. The wolf dog is slightly based on Khaleesi, but it's a male. And a cat. So you got the wolf dog and the cat, and then you've got other characters in there as well. So they all like take a chapter telling the story from their perspective. You've got cows, elephant, bird. I forget all the other animals now. It's quite it's getting quite big. It's quite a big story. It's super beautiful, and it's all about this subject, but in a very magical way. And it's a lot about magic as well. But anyway, okay, away from that, emotional blockages. So I do have a system, and this system is really simple. So basically, you have to learn what the chakras are. So the chakras are super accurate. I have a different interpretation of the chakras, but only the bottom chakras. The two bottom chakras I have the other way around, which is more in line with what they say in Zen. In the hara, the place of strength, is below the belly button. So I just have those two turned around. So first of all, you have to learn the chakras, and you'll kind of begin to realize that you feel in your body, you feel the emotions in the same place in which the chakras are taught. And you can do one of my meditations. There's videos on my website from my retreats that you can buy with these chakra meditations, or you can do one of my meditation classes which talk about the chakras. You can find that on my website, or you can just go and look it up online. So you have to learn where the chakras are, and so and you'll find that your emotions are in the same place. So when you've got heartache and you feel like you've lost love, or that you're not good enough, or you're not loved, or you don't fit in, you'll feel it in your heart. When you feel disempowered, feeling like you can't act, like you can't do something, you'll feel it in your solar plexus. When you feel fear and weak and ungrounded and not strong and all these types of feelings, you'll feel it in your lower belly. And sexuality and numbness, you'll feel in your base chakra. You'll feel in your throat, inability to express yourself, to express emotions. Not being heard, not being listened to. And in the positive, it feels like you can speak and you can be heard. In the positive, it feels like you are loved and you are accepted. And in the solar plexus, it feels like you can do something, you can make action, you can do things, and you are strong. In the below the belly button, in the positive, it feels like you are grounded, you are safe, you have strength. And in the base chakra, it feels like sexuality and love. And then here is the ability to imagine, the ability to see from other perspectives. So this is your third eye. The ability to see what is not here. And in its negative, it's compulsive overthinking. Here is connection to something higher. And negative, it's disbalance and feeling small. So those are the chakras. When I do the meditations, I lead you through it slowly, and I just get you to place your attention there for you to learn it. That's something that's not going to happen instantly, and I can't do it for you. That's something that you've got to do, knowing that you don't do anything, that it's a happening. And you've got to learn your emotional centers. And I assure you that they're similar in most humans. I work with a lot of people, and they're super similar for everybody. Some people have different variations of them. The reason that it's important to know that is because you can't trust your mind. What your mind says isn't necessarily what you feel. What your mind thinks isn't necessarily what you feel deep down. And your body doesn't lie, but your mind does. So if you feel ashamed, your mind could be telling you how much you hate the person in front of you, but actually you feel ashamed. If you feel vulnerable, your mind could be telling you that the situation that you're in is the wrong place, you shouldn't be here, you should be somewhere else, and you imagine somewhere else, and in your heart you just feel vulnerable. So your body doesn't lie. Sometimes there is stuck emotions there, but that's what your body is feeling in that moment. And as you get more and more in tune with your body, you find that there is a natural flow, and the action is taken from the body, not from the mind. The mind is it's something you use to put information in, to learn information and to learn about new situations, but the body actually chooses. When you choose from the mind, it's intellectual, and it's not your natural flow. It's something you've been taught. Your natural flow is free, and it's something you can't control. You can't control what you want or feel or do. And it's something crazy as well. It's really crazy what you feel as opposed to what you think. When you, in your thinking mind, you think about things logically and you want to control things to fit into safety and being liked and being loved. And it just doesn't work like that, life. So you need to learn what your body's saying. And that's an important process, is getting to know what it is your body's saying as opposed to what your mind's saying. As you begin to learn more what your body's saying, then it will become more clear where your mind and your body is out of balance, where your mind is bullshitting you and lying and telling you things that aren't true. Basically, yeah. I mean, I was going to say the mind lies a lot, but sometimes it doesn't. There is no ultimate truth, so the mind can never be true in what it's saying. Well, there's some relative truths. And once you've begun to learn where your feelings are and where you feel them in the body, then you can look at some stuck feelings, because sometimes feelings get stuck and it gets into a loop. Your feeling gets stuck and then your mind produces a story with that feeling, and then that story encourages the feeling and you get stuck in this loop. So the mind is producing thoughts, the feeling is getting evoked more and more and more, and it gets more and more activated, and then eventually it just feels like a lump, like a stuckness, and it feels uncomfortable. So what you do then is the personal awareness is mostly put into the thinking mind. So say if you're feeling lots of sadness, that can come, mostly sadness comes from the heart, but sometimes you feel it in the throat. But sometimes the feelings can be felt other places as well, because of the line of the energy and the way it moves. But predominantly sadness is a feeling in the heart. So, I mean, I might be wrong. It might also be a sadness that appears in the throat, but you put the attention into the heart area, and then you begin to ask it questions. What does it want? What does that sadness want? What does that sadness not want? And you begin to explore it. When have you felt this sadness before? Did someone create this sadness? Like, was it an abandonment by someone? And you begin to explore what the feeling is. And you begin to take full responsibility for your feelings, that they're your feelings, and they're not a result of anyone else. They appear that way, but they're your feelings. So you begin to really own them and see that you feel things and sometimes it lines up with what's happening external, and sometimes it doesn't. So it doesn't mean they're facts. And this will begin to open these areas, just getting to know what's happening. It's not an instantaneous process, but it's so it's not something you can just do now and get rid of the sadness. But bit by bit, it can have a profound effect on you. And it's something you've got to do, so you can't, like with non-duality, I kind of lead you guys through it. So I say non-duality and it kind of gives you that experience, it reminds you, you resonate with it. But with the emotional stuff, I can't really do it for you. Sometimes I really guide people, so they book one-to-one sessions with me, or they come on retreat, or they call in online, and I really guide them into those feelings. But it's really bit by bit, you have to learn what your body's saying, learn what your body wants, and not be interacting with life solely through your mind. It's sort of dropping back into your body. And also accepting that your body's never going to just have positive feelings, part of life is to have negative feelings. So like when something's scary, when a lion's chasing you, you're designed to have fear, otherwise you won't run away. When you feel anger, you're designed to feel anger, otherwise you won't express it. But the reason that they get stuck is because of this mind feeling loop, where you have a feeling, you're telling yourself a story, the feeling is getting more, and everything's becoming out of balance, and you're living predominantly in the mind area, and you just lock down. But it takes patience, and it takes a lot of sitting and going into the feelings, putting the attention, the personal awareness into the chakra points, asking questions, doing it again, being repetitively doing it. We often are looking for quick fixes in our society. It's like mobile phones, like throwing them away and getting a new one. And there's not really a quick fix to the emotional thing. But true freedom is who is looking at the emotions. But when the emotions are really intense, that's impossible to hear. The mind is just so active. The space all feels very condensed. Hope that helps, Megan. Lisa, I enjoy the more esoteric stuff. I'm still a little confused on some of the stuff you say, but I'm learning. What is necessary for the self to be seen through? Did you know all this non-dual information before the transformation happened? That's $1 million question. What is necessarily not as necessary? It happens, Sean, and we don't know how it happens. It tends to be that the person relaxes, so the person starts getting over all its bullshit and becoming more real and more honest and not just living totally in the head. So it tends to go through this process of balancing itself out. So somebody that's totally identified in society and totally believes the dream is real, that tends not to happen, the awakenings to them. In society, the awakenings do happen randomly in people, but it tends to be when there's a lot of loss that happens or their life changes dramatically and they're shocked. So there's a death or something shocking happens. But when you're in the process and you're doing this awakening stuff consciously, it tends to be a chipping away at all the illusions, and then the shift happens at some point, and learning about this stuff and resonating with teachers and having awakenings. And it also can be as well, if you're in this process, suddenly big loss happens or your life collapses. Sometimes it happens because what was holding your life together was fear and negativity, and then people's lives collapse, and then it's what's left. If you're not all the things you identify with, what's left? Floren, hi Lisa, I have a question about I am. I had a moment being today watching the sheep weeding outside, and I felt and heard I am suddenly, and there was a thought feeling that I am is never the voice of the me, it's the voice of everything in the universe. Somehow one could also say all is, but this is still something different. Can you speak about the I am? Yes, I can. So the I am is everything side to me. I mean, Floren, this is taught in different ways, so I'm sure you're jumping around teachers and going to lots of different teachers, so there's different ways in which the I am is spoken about. The more traditional way is there is, let's just draw on the hand, there is nothing, I will put, there is consciousness, so C, then there is the body, and then there is I am, then there is the person, and then the world. So it goes like this. If you imagine, oh, this is all backwards, eh? So yeah, that's the world here. So you got nothing here. So everything starts with nothing. Nothing. And then consciousness gets acted. So nothing appears as consciousness. And then a body appears. And then the I am appears. And then the person appears. And then the world appears. But I don't think it goes like a linear line. I think it all happens at once. And the nothing is the consciousness, and the I am is the world, so the person and the world. So I see it like this divide, like here. You got the nothing, which is the consciousness and the body, and then the I am, which is the person and the world, like the character in the world. And so the consciousness is nothing. Like, so who is looking now? Like, consciousness is totally empty. And consciousness doesn't exist. It is all things. Consciousness is the things that appear. You think there is something conscious here, something conscious of the person, something conscious of the world, and that's the consciousness. But actually, consciousness is the appearance of everything. And consciousness doesn't move. It's not moving in time. Time is appearing and moving in consciousness. And then the I am is the opposite side. The I am is this sense of existence, that this is. It's this sense that life is happening. Like life is. It's love. It feels like love, I am. And the I am feels like everything too. So rather than being nothing, like the I am is nothing, but it's predominantly everything. Whereas, well, I mean, you just lose it when you begin to really break it down. It's like nothing and everything. But the I am is this sense of existing, that you exist. Not you as a person, not you as a character, but right now there is the sense that existence is happening. Not as a conscious thought, but there's this sense, and it's joyful, it's love, that this is, life is. It's not like this feels like it's not happening. It feels like it's happening, but for nothing. Or it feels like it also feels like it's not happening as well, actually. That's a contradiction. But there is this sense that of existence. And that sense of existence has always existed. It existed prior to you being born, but also it's just you don't have any memory of it then. It also existed when you're 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Also existed when you had a bad mood, happy, sad, when you lost your house, got your house, had children, lost your children, had a fight, was happy. It was always there. Always, no matter what, there was this sense of existence. The person changed, the character changed, the feelings changed, the events changed, life changed, but that sense of existence never changed. And that sense of existence is still, and it's nothing, and it's everything. The same with the consciousness. And eventually they get brought together. There is no consciousness that's aware of the I am. They're one and the same thing. There is nothing experiencing itself as everything. No thing experiencing itself as all things. So the I am, I just break it down into that it is everything and the consciousness is nothing. And then they come together and they make nothing and everything. I heard one teacher describe it as a bridge once before. They're a bridge between nothing and everything. But it's all impossible. You can't get to it in words. It's beautiful. To write to that person that they've gone. Can I just ask, how did you get that bird to rest on your hand in your YouTube picture? Lovely picture. Oh, well, I found the bird on the side of the road, and my friend It was very small. And once you find a bird that's very small and you start feeding it, then it just treats you like your mama. But I actually gave it to my friend. She's brought up many birds, so I didn't actually bring it up. I had it for 24 hours and then she took it and looked after it, which was really good because I had a retreat coming up and I didn't know how I'd have done a retreat and fed a bird every 15 minutes. Imagine also doing a live talk. It would be like talk, 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 and then tweet, tweet, feed, talk, talk, tweet, tweet, feed. But the bird is now left and it's free. That bird is gone. And then she had another bird, that disabled one. Yeah, she has a thing with birds. They seem to come to her, the birds. Yeah, she's amazing with them. It's so sweet. She named it Titrus, the last one. She's had many. And it was so sweet. It used to come and hug in your neck. That was really a nice little bird. Okay, it's time for me to go to the toilet. Wow, there's no more questions. Everybody is on holiday. Everybody is happy because it's summertime. Isabel says, is it possible to understand why this is all happening? Why? Is it a question arising? It's love. It's happening for love. Hey, Nicholas. Lisa spontaneously watched Listen tonight, so sweet and so funny. And wow, your chakra meditation and all that teaching have really expanded. Love what you are doing, combined ND with helping the human. Love you so much. Wow, that was quick. Yeah, I put YouTube on a new setting tonight to be instantaneous. It happens because of love, Isabel. Hi Lisa, is it just about watching what is happening, feeling thoughts and taking some distance from it? No, it's not just about that, but that's a really wise thing to do. It's an energetic movement from being separate and limited to expansiveness, but that's a wise thing to do. And with the chakra, like, just understand, so back to what Nick was saying, but that's advice that I gave on the chakras, but that's not going to lead you to liberation, because there is no you to get liberated. That's an illusion that you exist. There is only what's happening, and in what's happening there is nobody. That is a way to help heal the body. Just like if you had a broken leg, I would advise to do this or that. It's a way to help heal a body that's become very disbalanced from believing in a lie that you exist separately, and then taking yourself too seriously and becoming cut off from the body. And that's super helpful to do, and it can relax the body, and so another possibility can be heard. But you don't get enlightened because you do not exist. Who is this you? Who are you? Who's looking out of your eyes now? Who's hearing these sounds? Who's speaking these words? There is simply presence happening, which is so beautiful. Does the energetic shift happen by itself? Everything happens by itself. Nothing is happening because of you. You are happening. You are not doing something separately from everything else. It's like the tree claiming growing, or the tree claiming dropping its leaves. That's not an excuse to be an asshole, though. You know, there's this non-dual group of people that follow a particular teacher, and the teacher advocates, they don't advocate it, but for some reason this particular teacher has students that really like to attack other teachers and really go for other teachers, and they really go for it. It tends to be men, and they've obviously got anger in their body, and they've told themselves there's nobody doing anything, and then they think it's okay to then go and be really abusive to other teachers because there is nobody doing anything. And this is a total misunderstanding of the teaching. That's totally acting through a sense of self. That's not acting through no sense of self. It's that the part of them that's been suppressing the anger and the rage inside them has come off, and then the anger and rage is coming out, and they think it's okay to project it over everybody else, and they think it's everybody else's fault, so they think that it's worthy, that's worthy of it. But if they are to explore it deeply, they'll understand that that hatred and that anger comes from a very separate feeling. That they believe that it's other people's fault that have made them like this, and then they've got lots of hatred and anger coming out to people. And it can be a process that happens. And I know when I was waking up, a lot of anger and hatred came out of me too. And sometimes it went the wrong direction at people. It's always good to apologize after that's happened. Like, to see it for what it is, and that that's not appropriate. to bully other people. And that's not the teaching of non-duality, to say it's okay to be abusive to my wife or to my kids. In no way. It's total dropping back into yourself. But that feeling of like rage and hatred that comes up is actually a top layer of niceness coming off. But it's also seeing through that as well, but it's nobody's seeing. I always like to get that bit in now. Non-duality isn't about becoming an asshole. This message is love. It's total unconditioned love. So somebody's being abusive or lying or doing really nasty things to you and saying it's all oneness, it is nobody doing that. That's not non-duality. That's human separation. Well, it seems like that is all the questions for tonight. Sometimes there's so many questions and sometimes there is very few. That's the way it is. So I think I'm going to take an early night tonight and leave you. I'm not going to broadcast this coming Wednesday or Sunday, and I'll put that on my website and on Facebook. So I have the week off. No broadcast on Wednesday and no broadcast on Sunday this week. I have a holiday. I send you so much love. Thank you guys. Bye.